Hi everyone, my name is Paul Santilli. I head up the SCIP organization, the Strategic Consortium of Intelligence Professionals. And I'm here today as part of our iStream podcast series. Actually, we're live here at Intellicon. I'm here with my good friend Ramesh Mahaliam, who is the CEO and founder of Vizru, an AI company. So, Ramesh, welcome to the SCIP iStream series.
Thank you, Paul. Glad to be here.
Excellent. So, Ramesh, tell me about Vizru. What do you do and what is the company all about?
So Vizru was founded in 2015 with one goal, one objective, which is we wanted to reduce the time to deliver next generation technology solutions for enterprises. And we've been very successful in it. What used to take about 18 months on an average, we reduced it to about 4 weeks. But 92% of our customers have been able to deploy minimum viable products under 4 weeks.
Wow.
And now we have extended the same capability for AI solutions, because now there's a lot of anxiety and excitement and aspiration towards moving their organization towards an AI organization. So we've been able to deliver to the same promise. Under 4 weeks, they can deploy any AI solution.
So what have you done in order to be able to decrease the amount of time so greatly for that type of a solution? So what primarily, without revealing the company secrets or anything, what are the major application areas or major areas that you focus on to be able to do that time reduction?
Yeah, so if you really think about the modern software architecture, there are 5 layers. The traditional architecture used to have 3, now there are 5, because now you add AI and the integration layer to it, like API and so on. And what we did is we removed coding out of each one of those layers. So we call this a full stack zero code, which is very hard to do. It's extremely hard to remove coding completely out of the equation. And the reason we removed coding is $1 it takes to actually write a code. It costs $3 after 3 years to maintain that code.
No kidding, really?
Yeah, it's very expensive.
300% investment increase.
That's right, and that becomes legacy. And now with the speed in which the AI is evolving, every 6 months is going to become legacy.
Yeah.
So the zero code has been the secret sauce for doing this fast.
So when you say zero code now, what does that specifically mean to those people who are looking at this as non-technical in nature?
Sure. Let's take data intelligence team, the community. If you really break it down, there is an idea as to what we want to provide, and most of us happen to be 85% in an organization or non-techies, they're business teams.
Of course.
So the challenge that we've had is the business team would have an idea and then it had to outsource it to somebody else to get it built. But the person you outsource it to, they have no context of the problem itself. So right away the gap starts. So here the zero code means you remove coding completely out of the equation. And by doing so, you actually have the business teams lead and run these initiatives themselves. So the most of our projects are led by business teams directly.
Because it's business case applications sort of driving the solution set.
That's right. So you just imagine Excel. Well, you don't have an IT person running Excel.
Yeah.
So what if you bring the same Excel-like capability, the zero code capability, right into full stack application? That's what this means. So we have what 85% of our products are all driven by business teams, which is very, very critical for the data intelligence team, because one of the most consequential organizations because of generative AI is the data intelligence organization.
It's going to be highly impacted because of it, OpenAI. So your zero code capabilities help provide a platform that data intelligence users can actually implement without having within a zero code environment. Then.
Oh, absolutely. Because you brought up generative AI. See, if you really step back, every organization is asking a question: how is it upending my industry? So the data intelligence communities, I'm sure, is asking the same question. It is going to impact. How is it going to impact? The generative AI to put it, simply, generative AI is going to lead to generative DI, which is generative data intelligence.
Yeah.
So you break this down into three categories. One is generative data. That means the data that used to be within somebody's walls and then paid for, and somebody collecting it, cleaning it, that world is gone. The data is now democratized. Data is available and everywhere.
It's exactly. It's pervasive, universal, and it's like you say, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And by definition, as I've always said, because when data is everywhere, so is intelligence. So you have that association, that data driving intelligence. Now you have the pervasive intelligence environment, which we call the intelligence ecosystem, really, and how it plays a tremendous part in your zero code type applications.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And if you take an example, let's say Paul's trying to pull information.
Yep.
Paul's going to get the same data set that Ramesh is going to get because it's democratized.
Yeah.
Then what makes Paul's organization different from Ramesh's organization? So the generative data becomes democratized. Then the next component is where the engine component comes in, which data is the oil, AI now becomes the engine. So now the AI starts to build analysis on the data based on the algorithm that we both uniquely built.
And if you have an AI platform, AI algorithm that's better in deciphering the data outcomes, so to speak, toward your objective, then you're going to have that advantage in the marketplace.
That's right. And the data intelligence community, the way they build USP is not that I can collect data. It's about how am I going to build that interpretation layer within the AI, and that's what the zero code allows you to do. So we both may have zero code platform, but we both don't have the same algorithm.
Yes.
So you build your own, and that becomes your USP. You can commercialize it. Now you become a tech-enabled company, and so do I.
Yeah.
So we have our own algorithm.
So how does that become from a competitive standpoint then? What makes your algorithm better than mine in the marketplace then?
It's based on two other components. The data, we've already established that it is democratized. It's common.
Right. Everyone has the same access.
Everyone has the same
data.
You pull Gartner, I pull Gartner. You pull Frost, and I pull Frost. Now the data now is democratized. The other two layers of how do I really utilize the generative AI and the predictive model to determine what I can do with the data. I mean, let's take an example. Let's say you are in a manufacturing sector, and then you determine that you may project that your inflation is going to go down in 24. I may project it may go down by 2%, and you may project 4%. We both have the same algorithm, but different metrics. So you may win or I may win. That depends on what kind of parameters we feed into the AI system.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out, and that's the standpoint.
That's right. So that's the second component that's going to make the unique difference. The third is where we shine, where how quickly you can test it into the market.
And that's your differentiating.
That's the differentiator. You want to take it out. You have to assume that technology is all about failing, but failing fast.
Of course.
And how quickly can you fail in 2 weeks and then bring it up is going to be a major deal in the next 3 years.
So tell me then about, you're on the advisory board for SCIP, which is really great. Excuse me. You bring a different facet of perspective into the organization, which is what I'm very pleased to have included in the mix. SCIP is an organization that's talking about intelligence ecosystems, and we're really looking at branching out into the applications of intelligence in many other different facets, the human intelligence, and social intelligence, and so forth and so on. How does the AI zero code type applications, how does that play a part in this expanded sort of intelligence base that we're looking at?
So first, SCIP is indeed very unique.
I take that as a compliment.
Absolutely, yes. Because I've been to so many conferences, and the individuals here are passionate about intelligence.
I would agree.
They love this. I mean, they've been with this for 30 years, and everybody, there's a common fabric that says, how do we together make this different? How do we make it, an inevitable part of enterprise growth? So this is unique, because whenever you go to conferences, people don't ever say, how do we make this? I think SCIP as a community has really been very successful in making it happen. That's always been the vision that you've told me, and I think this is my second conference, and it is my teammate actually. I mean, one of my head of sales, my colleague, actually shared this about a half hour ago. I said, man, they're passionate. So first, you're right. It's absolutely unique, and that's very, very important when you're looking towards the future. So the future of AI is, we need to really keep this in mind. The future of AI for data intelligence is generative data intelligence. That means we need to build generative data sets that actually builds data sets as we ask, not based on information that we have within a CRM system. That's a microcosm. That's a
spec. Yeah, that's a grain of sand on the beach.
That's right, and we can't, and we are still fighting that spec doesn't have clean data. What would be the point of cleaning up one small segment of your shore? Your data is massive. So what we are developing, thanks to SCIP community's help, is we built something called Rover. Rover essentially builds or becomes a generative data model where it builds data as you ask. By looking at 600 different sources, it actually builds the ecosystem at the time you ask, and then kind of destroys it after that. So because the data needs to be built.
I was just going to say, because you have to, this is a continuous process, because this data set is growing exponentially over time. This rover that you're describing has to constantly recreate itself in order to be current.
100%. Let's take example like electric vehicle cars. Right? 6 months ago, everybody swore by it. Just 2 weeks ago, everybody walked away from it.
I know. So, I've read the articles too. No one's buying EVs anymore.
But what would be the reason? The reason could be there could be some other technology that's advancing. That's blind. It's blindside most of us. But there are folks who are already betting it. AI Copilot, the rover, would actually identify it and actually move that forward and say, this is your new data set that's going to look like. So the best way to beat it is generative data.
So this aligns to another, actually it was a session at Intellicon, and actually another interview I had with a young lady named Tanja Schindler. She's a futurist, and she was talking about the future of technology and AI and the use of data sets like this that would help to define the direction that behavior is going based on data sets, and they can possibly be manipulated to encourage a favorable outcome over some maybe less favorable outcomes. And using these rover technologies, then you can apply, I don't want to say bias, but you can apply some characteristics that tailor it to go into a certain direction that benefits mankind, or benefits technology, benefits healthcare, benefits different environments, where now you're tailoring these AI tools to be utilized in some way to, as we always say in the SCIP world, for the betterment of people on the planet.
Yes, it's a very, very pertinent challenge. And this is why this is another important, I would say, passion of mine. I like to explain to enterprises that we cannot outsource ideas. We cannot outsource data that just simply says, okay, somebody's giving me, and that's what it is. We need to control the destiny. We need to take 3 different data sets and build model out of the model. That's what Rover does. Rover actually determines 3 different data sources, same kind of information, and determines what is the most likelihood by looking at the public domain data against the 3 sources that we have. So absolutely, there is a tremendous, I would say, opportunity for exploitation such as this to create implied bias within the system. But the best way to actually handle it is multiple data sets, and then bring the objectivity based on comparing and hedging the bet between multiple data sources.
Perfect, excellent. Well, this sounds extremely exciting, especially right through the SCIP alley, so to speak, because of this promotional and expansion of the ecosystem, as we've always talked about, and having complex, sophisticated tools like this to help the data analyst to be able to not only collect but analyze and actually offer solution sets that help them out to become not only more competitive, but also as a benefit to society as a whole, human behavior, and so forth and so on. So this is really exciting stuff.
Absolutely, and I would also make a promise, since it is a non-pro. I mean, more importantly, social responsibility angle.
Yes.
With the community. If enterprises want to work with us, we can actually build and make sure this is agnostic and neutral, and then we can make it open source for the community to be able to build on top. So this way, there are no implied biases right with it.
Well, you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Nobody can have a fault with that. And that breeds more and more people wanting to get on board and be a part of that sort of solution set when you're doing it open source and for the betterment of people and healthcare and so forth and so on, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, excellent stuff.
Great.
Well, Ramesh, this has been a great conversation. I hope the folks out there enjoyed it as much as I did. I want to thank you very much for being a part of this iStream podcast for SCIP.
Thank
you
you
for your contribution as an advisory board member. And overall, appreciate your friendship and look forward to working with you more on developing these data sets for data people.
I'm sure we will work to
Outstanding.
much closer. Thank you so
sir.
much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.